Boom. Mr. Mickey MacDonald, thank you very much for joining the podcast. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I know you're a busy man, so taking an hour out of your day, I do appreciate it. I really do. What's a Monday look like for Mickey MacDonald? Every Monday, are you a ritual guy? What's the day look like?
No, I always start my day off in the morning. I go to the gym 6 days a week, so I go down first thing in the morning at 7 and work out for about an hour and a bit, and then come up and start my emails and start travel around to my businesses and lots of stuff going on. So
6 days a week you're at the gym?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you right now?
69.
Has it always been that way? Have you always taken fitness into account?
Yes. No, I remember back in the day when I was, way back. I started boxing when I was in my 20-something, 20 or 21, something like that. And I was fighting on the street, and I always say, I tell people, I've fought on the street, I fought in a ring, and I'm fighting in business every day, right? So it's just something I like to do. It's a discipline that I know that if I get through that, the rest of the day is going to be easy. So I still, I remember I used to, when I had down east going, I had this trainer coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning to work out with me, when 5 o'clock. Yeah, because I had time to work out for an hour at 6, have a shower, get down to work. I met the boys at Tim Hortons. We used to meet for coffee and business stuff with the guys from Clearwater and that, right? So
yeah. I want to talk about growing up in Fairview. I myself grew up in Clayton Park, and I had friends from Fairview. And not that there was anything wrong with Clayton Park; it was great, but it was more of it was a safer community. And whenever I went to Fairview, that's where I'd like to say I grew thick skin. I learned to, if someone's making fun of you, you learn to take it, and then you learn to give it to someone else. You learn to be quick. You learn to be witty. You learn to be. It just brings something out of you that didn't growing up in the suburbs. And I just wanted to talk about growing up in Fairview and what that was like at a young age back then.
It was. I remember my first memories of Fairview were fighting. Right. I remember I was only must have been 4 or 5, I guess, and a kid across the street. Me and him were fighting, and he was on top of me, pounding me in the face, and my brother was standing there, and I could see my dad looking down from the deck. And anyways, he comes down. He says, "Okay, break it up." He says, "Now shake hands. If you win the fight," and told the other guy, he says, "You win the fight." So, and he said to me, my brother Rick, he says, "You guys better come in the house here." He said, "I better show you how to fight before you get killed out here, right?" Because that's all Fairview was back in those days, right? And so, I still remember it to this day. Is that what he said to me is not about the fighting or anything else. He told us to hold our hands and stuff like that. But it was what he said to me that I think had a profound effect on my life. Is that he said, "Never go into anything thinking you're going to lose. If you're going to think you're going to lose, don't do it." He said, "But you never know if you can do something until you really try, right?" And so first, when I was a kid, I took that as, well, I'll fight anybody now, right? Just, I think I can win.
Yeah.
So I went through my first few years fighting and stuff like this here. And but really, what it meant to me later on, it dawned on me that going into anything thinking you're going to lose, it's just negative energy, right? So I remember when I was, a guy said to me when I was 16, 17, he said, "You know how to drive truck?" "Yeah." "Doesn't everybody?" "Right? Do you know how to do this?" I remember when I left home, went to Toronto, lived in the streets, and, went looking for a job. The guy said, "Do you know how to, use power saws and that?" "Oh, yeah." "Oh, yeah, I did that all the time." Took a course of that, actually.
Keep yours further away.
Further away. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's and that's the way I approach life. "Do you know how to drive dump truck?" "Yeah." And that guy gets in the truck, says, "Okay, well, take me for a drive. Show me how you drive it." So I get in, and they're diesel, right? Diesel are different than gas, right? So I get in and I'm like, and grinding the gears. And Jesus, I said, "This seems to be a little bit different than what I used to drive." The guy said, "Here, let me show you how to drive this thing." So he took me out, showed me how to drive it, and I picked it up, and away I went, right? So I never drove a dump truck before in my life, but
The things back in the day when you didn't need a certificate. Yeah, I know how to do it. Yeah. They'll believe you.
yeah. Well, that's still true today. If you go into if somebody asks you can do something, you usually take their word for it. That if they say, "Yeah, they can do it."
Yeah.
So I always say, "I can do that." Some things I just haven't done yet.
I love that.
Yeah.
When we first started this business, I don't know, obviously you're aware of COVID, but we have a live streaming aspect of our business because when COVID was a thing, parents couldn't go in to see their kids play. So there was kids playing, parents couldn't see. And one parent just came up to us and said, "Do you guys live stream?" "We don't live stream, but I used your rule of thumb." "Yeah, we do." You wouldn't believe the amount of things we had to do in order to get the internet up and running in a rink because you have thick cement buildings, can't get internet through. Well, you're aware of the internet, what your business, but unbelievable the things you could do. I agree with what you say. Just say yes, go for it, even if you can't.
Yeah, no, I still do the same thing today. I tell people in my business that you never say no until I tell you to say no, right? We could do anything, right? Some things, like I said, doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we do a lot of different things in our business, right? But we do them right, and we search it out, we make it happen, and it's all about positive attitude, not being afraid of stuff. Fear is one of the biggest things that stops people, right? This is what I can't tell you how many people say to me, I was going to do that, right? Or I was going to do that, right? And I said, well, I did it, right? So the thing is that people used fear to, find reasons not to do it. I use fear to motivate myself, right? Because last thing in the world is I'm not going to be afraid, right? So I push myself past the fear, and yeah, I can do this, right? And some things, like I said, I just haven't done yet. But you fumble and fall, get a few bangs and scrapes, but you'll find your way through it. And I always tell people, if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to do it. You just got to drive. You got to have that desire.
I like that. It's known that you dropped out of school at a young age, and I was always wondering why. Was it because you weren't agreeing with the work, you weren't agreeing with the teachers, or you like to implement your ideas better? It's always known that great entrepreneurs don't really do well in school, but I just wanted to know your reason of why you left.
Well, it was. There is probably a lot of reasons looking back through time now, but the people I was hanging out with, and that's why I always say positive role models are important for your children and for your people, right? You need positive role models, and the role models that I was hanging out with there were probably not these guys we were hanging out with. They were going to Sudbury to seek their main fame and fortune in the mines. Nickel mines up there. They're hiring people. Yeah, let's go up and get a job in the mines. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll go along. But it was funny because I went and I told my mom I was going to quit school and leave, and I think she was 7 of us, right? And I think she was worn down quite a bit. So she says, okay, if she had told me no, I probably wouldn't have went. But anyways, she's going to let me go. I'm going to go, right? So I quit school and I went with the boys. There was 5 of us that went up there. And funny thing about that is we were going and we stopped in Toronto. And for whatever reason, I said, I'm going to get out, guys. I'm going as far as I'm going. I'm going to stay here. And so they said, what? I said, yeah, I'm going to stay here. So anyways, they went on and I stayed in Toronto. I didn't know anybody. Just, slept in the park and did all kinds of stuff. But, I did find a job and, it was crazy. But I just did it. And I don't know why. And then I went out to Toronto a few other times by myself. Didn't know anybody, but I always traveled by myself, right? And after that, and I went to Vancouver, worked in the mines, worked in the woods up there, and I did quite a few different jobs around Canada, and it taught me a lot, right? Taught me that I can survive, right?
Do you think that the rough nature of Fairview built confidence in yourself to be able to hold a conversation with maybe people that you had, strangers?
I'll tell you a story about Fairview. So, anyways, I was going to go to Toronto, right? Yeah. And the guy says, listen, he says, if you're going to have any trouble out there, just tell them you're from Fairview. And these guys are afraid of people from Halifax, Nova Scotia, right? Just tell them from Fairview, Halifax, Nova Scotia, right? And I said, yeah, okay. So anyways, I'm out in Toronto, right? And I got a job at this place. So I'm at this gas station, and Satan's Choice were there, the bikers, right?
Okay.
So the guy says, the guy starts saying stuff, and always one thing led to another. I said something bad. The guy said, get him, right? And so the bus pulls up. I get on the bus, and I'm thinking the bus driver, get going. Anyways, the bus driver, he lets these guys on. I don't even think he charged them, right? These 2 guys, these 2 strikers with him. Anyway, so these guys, they're looking at me. So I go over and I lean across the seat, and I said, listen, guys, I don't know what you guys are looking for, but I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Guy says, I don't care where you're from. Beat the shit out of you, right? And I'm thinking, who told me that? If I can only think of who told me that, I got to kill him, right? Anyway, so I went up and I fought the guy and went in the back alley. We fought. And the guy says, hey, we'll go in the back alley here. I said, well, let's fight on the street here, right? And the guy said, no, we'll fight in the back alley. So I went up in the back alley and fought him. And anyways, it was a good fight. But I lost. But I won't tell you what he did to me. Since you're online here, I won't say what he did to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was actually doing pretty good, and then he reached down and grabbed me where no man had ever grabbed me before, and I never knew like
Greasy.
that. Well, it was, but I tell you, it was black and blue there, and I never thought I was going to be able to have kids after that. Yeah,
Oh.
that was a trick I learned after that. I said, be careful of that stuff.
So at what point in your life did you realize that you had an entrepreneurial touch?
Well, I never thought too much about this. Let me tell you my entrepreneur story, okay? This word entrepreneur come out in the early 90s. People started calling themselves entrepreneurs, and it seemed like a sexy word, entrepreneur,
Sounds
So,
great.
yeah, I could be an entrepreneur. So I started saying, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. And then I went to a trip down to the States for this here business thing. And when I'm going down there, it asks you what your occupation is, right? I was entrepreneur. So I go, how do you spell that? Was that E or an I? And then I became a small business owner. I've been one ever since.
I like that.
Yeah,
Small business owner. Keep it humble.
That's it.
Small
man.
business owner.
Entrepreneurs, they use that word to describe a lot of different people. Academics, everybody's an entrepreneur, and everybody's entrepreneur thinking, I'm a survivor, and I'm a hard worker, and I'm a small business owner.
I like that. Well said.
That's it.
I want to talk about okay, I'm a small business owner. I guess I'll throw entrepreneur out the door for this podcast. I'm a small business owner, and I'm learning things every day. And you've gone through the trenches, and I'm sure you're still learning things every day as well in the businesses that you're in. One thing I'm trying to figure out in my business are meetings. I'm having this company has grown probably in the past year. With COVID actually helped our business, believe it or not. It was great, and we're having a lot of meetings with people that are fans they're kind of doing their own thing and they want to join their brand with our brand. And I'll sit in a meeting for an hour and I'll leave it and I'll go, what really just got accomplished for that past hour? Did we just talk and get to know each other, or did anything really get accomplished? So I want to talk to you and ask you, whenever you enter a meeting of maybe a business you want to acquire or something that you're interested in, what are some things that you look to gain from that meeting rather than just sitting there going, oh yeah, you did this well, I did that well. Nothing really gets done.
Well, there's lots of things I could say here, but I purchased over 50 or 60 businesses, right? And I never took any courses or never showed me how to do that. I just did it, right? And that's when you're meeting with people out there, it's listening. My dad always said you learn more by listening. And first of all, what are you having the meeting for? Are you just meeting for the meeting? To shoot shit, or you're meeting to buy his business or sell your business. So you got to have a purpose for the meeting, and then after that, then you can you can figure your strategy out, right?
Okay.
It's what's your purpose for the meeting, right? And like I said, as I said earlier, you lose lip sync shit, but you learn more by listening than talking, right? And so I listen and see where the opportunity is, if there's an opportunity.
Well said. You writing that down?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I want to talk about the early Clearwater days. Early.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that's.
Well, it was that was way back in the day. I just got back from Toronto, actually, or Vancouver. I just got back from Vancouver, and it was
Recently, or you mean
back then? Back when
back then.
Clearwater
Okay,
started.
yeah.
So I just got back from Vancouver, and I was working in the mines, as I said, and there was John Risley was starting this. He was selling trucks, lobsters out of the back of a truck or something like that. My mom told me about it, because he was my brother-in-law at that time, right? And I had worked for John for years, just since I was like 15 or 16. I used to drive truck for him. I used to do all kinds of stuff, right? So anyways, he called me up. My brother Colin had just got back from Africa, right? And so he needed a hand get this lobster thing going. So my brother Colin, who was a plumber, he kind of put everything together, put all the tanks in, and me and John, we went to pick up lobsters up in Cape Breton, Grand Manan, I think was. We went to Grand Manan with this 5-ton truck. Broke down a couple times on the road, but I fixed it and kept going because I was a mechanic too, right? So
Were you? Or you just said you were?
I said I was. I could fix them.
Okay.
So anyways, we get there and we get these lobsters. The truck's full of lobsters, and we don't know anything about lobsters, right? So there were canners, and they're small, and it was hot August, and it was we loaded them up with ice, and we bring them back to Nova Scotia. Well, when we come back, we checked the lobsters, and they're getting weak and they're dying, right? So we thought if a lobster died, there was no good to eat. So we said, well, geez, we better cook them. We got to cook them all tonight because that's the only way you can, save them, right? So where are we going to cook them? I had a basement apartment on Piers Avenue in Armdale. I said, well, go to my apartment. And so in Piers Avenue in Armdale, we cooked like 400 or 500 pounds of lobsters all night long. All night long. I think if you can go up there, you can still smell it.
I was going to say, what's your landlord thinking, or your neighbors?
Yeah. But that's how Clearwater first got started.
That's unbelievable. So about the distribution of the lobsters, it was just the back of a truck to start. How do you advertise that?
No, they were started just park it on the side of the road and sell some trucks. Yes, lobster. But when I went and helped him, he just got a deal on renting that place where the Biddeford Highway, right where Clearwater is now.
Yeah.
And actually, it's where the parking lot is. But that's where we set up in there, and we put the lobsters in the tanks. That's what my brother hooked up the tanks so there's water circulating so the lobsters could live in it. And yeah.
If you had to count, how many times do you think your hands have been bitten by lobster through the beginning of that company?
Lobsters never bite you.
Oh, not bite. You know what I mean? Like claw you. Like
yeah, they don't. They're fine.
No.
No.
How if you wanted to get some lobster for free right now, could you?
No.
No, you have to pay. You got to pay.
Yeah. Something I like. Any of my business, when I go in, I set the standard. I pay. Everybody pays, right? So with Chicken Burger or anything else, one of the stores we have, I always pay, and it's just a good standard to have because people see if your staff see you taking stuff for nothing, and they deserve it too, right? And they're gonna say, "Well, I'm doing it too." So, best way to do is, my humble opinion, is that I lead by example.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question: is leading others and inspiring others and motivating others to want to work for your companies. What's your belief system in that? What do we have right now? We have 6 employees right now working for us, and I'm starting to learn and manage and guide, I guess, the young minds that we have working for us. And it's a challenge every day to try to, I guess, motivate. Motivate's the key word for me. But in your aspect and through your experience, what do you think is the key to that?
Well, I've had a lot of business. I used to have a body shop. I used to have a little car lot. And I had, I had a lot of different people working for me. And like I said, I worked. Growing up, I've done every job that's, in the back rooms, working with people and everything else. And so you kind of understand, what people are saying in the back rooms, how they're feeling. The management doesn't know anything. We know it all, and stupid assholes and all that kind of stuff. But so you kind of treat people as you want to be treated, you know what I mean? And treat them with respect. And, I don't ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself, right? And I remember I had this guy that was working for me at one of my down east, and he said, I'm not cleaning the bathroom. I don't clean bathrooms. I said, well, I clean bathrooms. And I said, I got no problem cleaning it, but you're not going to be here watching me, right? So see you later. So anyways, I got no problem cleaning washrooms. You're working together. You're living in a place that everybody chips in. And again, you have different rules and roles as a business grows and stuff like that. But again, there's nothing that I wouldn't ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Love that.
Yeah.
The growth of Halifax, the growth of Nova Scotia in business. You've been here for a long time, and you've seen it from where it was back then to where it is now. What are some of the more exciting things that you see in this province? And that, I don't know, my dream is for there to be like an NHL team one day. It's great with the Thunderbirds, it's pro sports, but just seeing from where it was to where it is now, what do you think the future holds for this province?
Well, we got 1 million people here now. They're just breaking 1 million people. So, in the future, who knows? But I think one of the things is a country, we need to take stock of our deficit, right? Because, with, everybody, all this free money, somebody's got to pay it back someday. And I hear these people talking about these people that are 1%ers, these no good bastards have stolen. Everybody wants to be a 1%er, but nobody likes them, right? But I kind of worry about the future because, like I said, people are losing their drive and their initiative to create and to work their way through things and make money. The thing is, that's what was the driving force, is that hard times. And as I always tell people when I was in Toronto, hunger and fear are great motivators, right? So you got to find a job, you got to do something, right? And it didn't matter what the job was, just as long as it paid money. So I see people today, well, I don't do that, and I'm not doing this. Well, obviously you haven't been hungry enough. But I remember working Christmas Eve, and to get money to like my children money to get money to buy them Christmas gifts and my family and stuff like this. So it's I'm kind of worried about the future with. And the thing is that we're a very adaptable race, of course, but I think this attitude of free is there's got to come a day of reckoning here. Because all these everybody likes to have this and they like to have that, like to have football and everything else, like these arenas. Who's going to pay for it, right? And are we going to sacrifice our hospitals, or we're going to sacrifice these here football? Something's got to
Give.
Something's got to give. Like I said, it's not unlimited money, especially when you can't get people to work.
I'm thinking of the movie The Big Short. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I didn't.
I won't go into it.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean.
Yeah. No, it's again, like I said, where's the priority for to put the money? Because we got health care, right? And people are saying, no, we got to have free health care. Well, I think there's a way to have free health care, but there's also a way to have a paying part of it, right? So that maybe there's certain hours that you have people that can, where you can go in at nighttime, pay a little bit extra, and go in and get something done that you can't get it during the daytime, which will take people out of the lineup to get into the doctors, right? There's something we got to do because, like I said, the doctors are burning out, and the nurses are burning out, and it's only a matter of time before everything comes to an end, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny, you talk about politics just a little bit, not politics, but you talk about the country and things like that. And do you find when you're younger you really cared about politics, or as you got older, politics kind of found you? Because I feel like that's myself. When I was younger, I worry about my business and how to succeed, and with that comes politics. Do you find the same for you? Business and politics found you?
Yeah, I always said when I was a kid, I said I'm gonna, fool around until I'm 25, and then I'm going to start concentrating on my life. And that's what I did. I said, I'm going to always have great stories when I'm a kid. I'm going to do these things. So there's not too many things I haven't done. I'm not going to share all these stories with you, but
oh, damn.
Might get myself in trouble. But the thing is, I just played around. I just wasn't worried about anything. And I remember my mom saying, geez, what are you doing? I said, Mom, look, I'm going to just live a life until I'm 25, and then I'm going to start concentrating. And it was funny because when I was 25, I got in the Halifax Fire Department, and I started building my life, started building for the future, right? And it was crazy how things worked out, but it just worked out just the way I wanted them to, right? And I got 25, I started building for the future, started my body shop, had the little car lot, and that's a lot of great things, a lot of fun.
How did Down East come together?
A lot of people probably heard this story, but I know my kids get me tired of me telling the story all the time. But
I've never heard it. Let's go.
So I'm in the fire department, got my car lot, and I got my body shop, and I have of course, in the wintertime, I have a plow truck, so I'm plowing driveways, right? So I'm listening to this radio story. It's about this new technology coming called cell phones. And I'm thinking, wow. And I had a pager, and my pager started going off while this guy was telling the story about how these cell phones were going to be able to call remotely from anywhere. And I'm daydreaming about, wow, if I had a cell phone, then I could be doing more things, So anyways, when cell phones came out that spring, like this was in December or something like that.
What year?
68, something like that there. 68. Yeah, 60, maybe 68 or something. So anyways, in the spring when they come out, of course I wanted to get a cell phone. So I called this guy I knew that I had, actually was one of the guys that I went to Toronto with, right? And I said, just Randy, how can I get one of these cell phones? Like, who? He said, well, I'm selling them, but he was a sales guy, right? So I said, well, how much it could cost? He said $3,500. I said, oh shit! I said, I can't afford that. How do you I said, how can I get a deal? He goes, nobody gets a deal unless you're a dealer. Oh, how do we become a dealer? So that's how I became a dealer.
I'm a dealer, actually. Yeah.
So I started selling cell phones, and I started selling them on my little car lot on the Bedford Highway. And then I met this guy that owned Down East, and he was going bankrupt. Actually, he was going to leave. He just got paid for this sale that he did, and he was going to take the money and just leave the province. And I said, he calls me up. He said, listen, either you buy me or I'm leaving. And I just sold him a truck, see? So I said, well, I'll come out and take a look. So I went out, and he had this technician sitting at the bench. I said, what's this guy doing? He said, he's doing the repairs of the phones. I said, who else is doing that? He goes, just me. And I said, there's a niche, right? I said, okay, maybe I will buy you. So anyways, I bought him. And I remember I called Motorola, and I said, look, I said, this guy owes you a whole bunch of money, like $85,000 or $90,000. I said, it's all unsecured. And I'm looking at buying them, right? I'll take on the debt. But I said, I want to make sure I keep the service center. And the guy says, well, we're going to close the service up. We're going to move it to Toronto, you know. I said, well, if you've done that, then you're going to lose $85,000 because I'm not going to buy the business. The guy said, well, we're not going to make any more service centers. I said, okay, see you later. I hung up. The guy called me back next day. He says, we talked it over, and we'll let you keep the service. As long as you maintain a Motorola trained technician, we'll let you keep the service.
Called his bluff.
I said, yeah, okay. So I said, send me a letter. So he sent me a letter to that. And actually, I just found that letter a little while ago.
No way.
Yeah, it was some old paperwork. But anyway, so the first thing I did is after I got the letter and I set up the business, bought the business, I called up. This happened in March time frame, right? So I called up, and I called this guy, Keith Steele, in Toronto. And I said, he's in Montreal. And I said, look, I understand you do training for technicians for the Motorola. He goes, yeah. I said, well, can I get a couple guys in there? He said, well, yeah, we got a course going next week or something. He said, if you want to shoot up. I said, yeah, absolutely. So I had this technician that was working for me. He was doing it. He was an installer.
What does that mean, installer?
He installed the phones in the cars.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I got
So
you.
I said, listen, we're going to Toronto. He said, what? What for? I said, or Montreal. I said, we're going to Montreal. He goes, what for? I said, we're going to write the course for technicians. He goes, well, no, I'm not ready for that. I said, well, me neither, but we're going. And I said, I'm taking you so I can cheat off you. So we went to Montreal, and we wrote the course, and I got my papers for fixing cell phones, right? So that way, nobody could take this service center from me, because I was a certified trained technician, so nobody could take the service from me. I'm good. Right?
How'd you cheat off him?
Did he look over? I cheated this. It wasn't that hard. I got through it.
That's amazing.
But again, no fear. He was scared to death, but I said, no, I'm not afraid. All right, let's do it. Right, we'll figure it a way. And,
What's the saying? To just do it first, ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, that's right.
I love that saying.
Yeah.
It feels like that's your life somewhat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It's easy to get forgiveness and permission.
I like that.
Yeah. You just do it, and hey, listen. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you're doing stuff for the right reasons. People say, they'll say, okay, they'll let you get by. Okay, get out of here, right? Kind of deal. So it was.
That's
the way I lived my life. Yeah.
And then you grew it to 50 stores, correct?
55. We had 55 stores, and it was lots of good stories on the stores. Because when I first got into business, anybody could become a dealer, right? You just had to apply for it, and you could become a dealer. No barriers to entry.
Go up to Montreal, do what you did.
No, that was totally different. See, that gave me the service center, but nobody else could get that, right? That differentiated me from everybody else, because I was a service center, but anybody could be selling cell phones.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I got you.
So they set up a deal.
I got you.
And so anyways, I remortgaged my house. I did everything, put everything on the line again, and I built this little shop. And actually, I quit the fire department too. Here I am in the Halifax Fire Department, career 15 years, and I quit the fire department and start doing this business, right? And mortgaged my house, mortgaged everything to build this little shop. And then the day I'm going to do the grand opening, a guy sets up across the street with the Bell network, same as me, right? And he's selling the exact same phones on the exact same network, only he's selling them cheaper than me because he has no overhead, right? He's just got paying like $1,000 a month rent. And I'm, I got a building, I got everything mortgaged. What are you going to do, right?
So what did you do?
So first thing I did is I talked to my salespeople, and they said, "Well, what are we going to do?" I said, "Look, first of all, people will pay more for a product, even if it's the exact same product, from a knowledgeable, confident salesperson, right? They don't mind paying that little extra because they know I can trust you, and you're going to be here tomorrow. These other guys fly by night, and this guy's a fly by night guy. So anyway, so that was okay. I bullshitted that way through. So anyways, it was funny because I called the president of Mobility, and I said, "Listen," I said, "What are you doing, man?" I said, I just mortgaged everything. I did set this up, and you set a dealer across the street. Are you kidding me? He goes, "Well, I didn't know they were going to do that." I said, "Well, how could you not know? You're the guy giving out the." I didn't, anyways. So I sent him this little. My brother had sent me this article about investing in business. I guess he was trying to send me a message. He said, "Investing in business with no barriers to entry. It's not a good thing to invest in, right? No barriers to entry." So, I could have just said, "Well, I'm staying in the fire department." But anyways, I said, "I'm going to fix this," right? So I sent him this article, and then he called me back. Said, "Yeah," he says, I read that. He says, "Makes a lot of sense." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Look, if you're not going to have barriers to entry, then you're going to have chaos out here because your customers are buying phones. They don't know who they're buying from." And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "Well, how do you think we could fix it?" I said, "Well, let's have territories, right? We'll have a territory that I'm in this territory and this is mine, and somebody else is in another territory." He said, "Well, how do we do if you're not getting the penetration that we need in that area?" Then I said, "Give me first right of refusal, or you can take the dealership away, put another dealer in." He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, that'll work." He said, "Okay, I'll do it." So we set that up, and that just paved the way for me because then I could buy territories, right? Because these other dealers, right? Because they would have a dealer, so I could buy the dealers, right?
Slick.
And so I started doing that, right? Buying the dealers, and then I own those territories, and nobody else can come in. And for some reason, nobody believed in it as much as me because I just knew that everybody was going to have cell phones, and I knew that the connection between cell phones and computers and everything else, when that computer started coming out and everything else, I remember putting on my sign down the Beverly Highway. They used to talk about the information highway.
What's that?
Nobody, yeah, exactly. That's what what's that, right? So I said, "Yeah, it starts here." So I put a big sign up, "The information highway starts here." So people come in like nobody knew what it was. So it is what I'm calling it. It's the
love
information highway. So I started it on the information highway starts here. And the guy said, "Well, what's this information highway?" I said, "It's the communications." I said, "You're going to be able to take your cell phone. You're going to be able to talk to your computers. You're going to be able to talk to your house. You're going to be able to turn your lights on. You're going to be able to drive cars with it." And oh wow, But I mean, I could see all this stuff with this, with the technology happening, right?
But how? Like it was just like you had a dream. Like
Yeah,
how does you
I
just saw
believed.
it?
I just believed in it, right? It was just I could see this was the beginning, right? And I built the shit out of that. We built that business, and then the best part is that so I got all these cell phone stores, right? And then Stentor was a phone company. They used to buy phones together, and Stentor broke up. So all the different phone companies were buying different places, like they were buying for themselves all of a sudden. So there was a window of opportunity which I jumped on. I started doing because I was buying at the highest volume, so I could buy at a high volume and sell to the other dealers.
Okay.
So I started doing that, and then I got a call from the president of Mobility, and actually from the phone company. And he says, "Mick," he says, he says, "you could probably do this a lot better than us." He said, "So why don't we be partners?" I said, "Absolutely. Let's do it." And I remember people saying, "What? Don't do that. Them guys they'll never be able to work with them." And I said, "I can work with them, right?" And so I set up the distribution for cell phones in Atlantic Canada, and everybody that bought a phone from in Atlantic Canada from Bell went through my warehouse.
Let's
so I touched every one of them. And then the best how. Some of them were resistant and didn't want to buy from me and stuff like this because I'm a competitor, right? So I talked to the president, who was another president, then Carl was gone. But anyways, they were saying, "Well, we got to let the dealers buy from wherever they want to, I said, "Well, that's all good." But I said, "Here you are. You're signing a customer up to a 3-year package, airtime package, and you're discounting the phone to them, right?" So he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, now, the phone, these guys are selling shit because they're not getting paid enough money. So they're buying these phones that are lasting for a month or 2 or 6, and then they're breaking. And then you got a customer with a 2.5-year contract that has no phone that's working. Now, should you realize when these guys' phones aren't working, you're not making any money because you get paid for airtime. Oh, yeah. I said, so giving them a good quality phone that they can use their airtime on,
Yeah.
this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right on that. I said, absolutely.
Doesn't take a brain scientist to
Well,
figure that.
I'll
Like
tell you
that's
something. When you're there in the moment, see, the thing is, people weren't seeing it the way I was seeing it, right? And they said, yeah. So I said, I can, we'll discount the phones at my business. It was called AMP, right? So we'll discount the phones there to the dealers, and then they won't have, because right now what the dealer was doing is buying the phone for $500. He was getting a $300 discount but he had to wait for 45 days to get that. I said, we'll give it to the dealer right up front. So he pays $200 for the phone. You guys just subsidize me with it. Well, how will we track it? I said, well, it's got electronic serial numbers. You know which ones are sold, and they tell you they sold them. You hook the phones up, right? And I said, well, I'll trust them. And anyway, so that's what they did. So every phone went through my warehouse, and then Motorola was. We were down in San Francisco, and there was a big trade show. And I said I had ran into the president of Motorola, and I said, mobility, part of the Motorola. And I said, look, you guys are losing your lunch here, guys. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, I want you to come with me for a second. So I took him up into the show, and this place is bigger than football fields, right?
Okay.
No, the big trade shows, right?
Yeah.
So I took him to the where all the aftermarket parts were being sold, right? And I said, you see all these aftermarket parts? He goes, yeah. I said, they're duplicating your product, right? So you guys aren't concentrating on parts. I said, someday cell phones are going to be free. Little did I know they were free. So I said, someday, and the only way the dealers are going to be able to make money is by selling accessories. And selling good quality accessories will separate them. So if you guys are not concentrating on your accessories, this is, you're going to lose out. So anyways, we went for coffee and shot the shit. I told him more stuff like that. Anyway, so a few weeks later, I get a phone call. And he called me up. He says, listen, Mick, he says, we had a meeting when we come back. He says, and we think you're right. So we're going to separate cellular from the accessories, make it 2 different divisions. He said, we could probably use somebody in the Maritimes to help us sell the product, the accessories in the Maritimes. I said, well, I'm the guy. He goes, absolutely. Wow. I was the only one on the planet given exclusive rights to Motorola accessories. I was given that by Motorola because of a reward for them guys doing that, right?
That's incredible. So when you approached the owner of Motorola in San Francisco, did you know him beforehand?
No, it wasn't the owner of Motorola. He was the president.
Sorry.
Of mobility, or the mobile side of the business.
Did you know him beforehand, or you just introduced yourself?
I knew him. We weren't buddies or nothing, but I had met him before, yeah.
Man, the confidence just to walk up and spread an idea like that.
Well, I believed, right?
Well, it's the no fear thing, too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people don't have that. I'm just blown away a little bit. Like, you mortgage your home for a risk like that. Did you have a wife? Did you have kids or anything?
Yeah, I did actually. And
you mortgage?
No, not at that time. I didn't, but I did get married, and I did have a divorce, and it was right around that time actually. And then I met my current wife just when I was getting into it, because I remember she was saying. I was telling her I was going to buy this. Oh, geez, you shouldn't do that. This is I said, I'm doing it anyways. So anyways, we've been together for over 30 years, and we've got 4 kids. Wow. And my kids are working with me. They're all working with me.
I've heard.
My youngest is with still. My wife decided 9 years ago that she decided to have one more. So we got a little 9-year-old. So
keeping you busy, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, I'm having a ball. Right? I'm living the life, man.
Do you think picking the right life partner has a big part to do with success? Because you're a busy man. Your hours aren't 9 to 5. You're moving, you're grooving, and you need to have someone there that's okay with that.
Yeah. You, like I say, I don't know why she stayed with me. She's far better looking than me, and has a lot more than I have. But I think the chemistry works, right? And I think that, as I said, I was married before and I got divorced, and there was no chemistry there. It just didn't work. And I was working a lot at that time. Even then, I was working because I had the body shop and I had the car lot, and I was in the fire department. When you're in the fire department, you're there for 24 hours, right? And then you get off, for 36. So then you go back again, and so it's a different dynamic then.
Yeah. Is it bittersweet selling a company? You work so hard for it, and then you make a ton of money, but it seems like in order to grow something to 55 stores, you got to love it. But then selling it.
Yeah, well, the president, funny about that, because the president of the phone company came to me, says, "Hey, Mick," he says, I remember, he says, "Listen, we got to do one or two things." And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "So we can either buy you or we're going to put you out of business." I said, "What? And why would you do that?" And he said, "Well, you got too much market share, and so I took the high road." I said, "Well, I guess I'll sell," but I said, "I want to make sure that things stay the same. My employees keep, no, we'll keep everybody. We'll do all the stuff." So anyway, so we negotiated a price and I sold to him, but it wasn't because I wanted to. I thought I could, I had a few other dealers that I was lined up to buy and stuff like this here, but anyways, I said, I'll take the high road.
Yeah.
And because they were going to put me out of business anyway, Bill was, I could put the pressure on them or whatever, because, with somebody with that much market share, it's a threat, right? But, and then I just went on to do other things, right? I didn't want to be a one-shot pony, one-trick pony. I started doing other stuff.
The moment the money was transferred into your account, did you have a level of happiness, or did you stay level-headed? How did you feel when you saw the money into your account?
There's, I don't know, it's a mixed emotion. It's always great to, get some security in your life and stuff like this. But I just like doing things, right? So, and something, I've never been afraid about surviving. I always knew I was going to do something, and I was never afraid about being broke or anything else. And I'm still not. I mean, the thing is, I can always find something to do, right? And I don't live extravagantly that like a lot of other people do, and I'm not. I'm very, very fortunate to be in the position I am, and I like giving back to the community. I do a lot of that, and it's to a boy from Fairview, it's a great feeling to be able to give a little bit back.
You should teach a course on fear and how to manage it. I think it's like you're not afraid to sleep on a park bench, but that's the reason you're probably sleeping in a big house. I think it correlates very well. To me, at least, listening to you, just meeting you for the first time.
It's funny how people are afraid of getting punched in the face. And, you can see my face. I got a broken nose and punched a few times. I used to be good looking.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, that's right. But, the thing is that if they say it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, right? So that's the way I approach life. And it's, I've made mistakes. I made more. And that's one thing I always try to encourage people about. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you learn from them. That's how you learn, right? And I'm very, very blessed that I got my children working with me, and they're hard workers, and like I said, they towed their loan, they towed their road, right? And they work hard, and they understand that I'm not dragging dead bodies with me, right? I said, you guys got to step up, and they do. They're pushing me out of the way all the time, right? Trying to get me do this and get me, let me do this, let me do this.
Have you seen the show Succession?
No.
Oh my God! What do you do for fun? What do you do?
Lately it's I always had my children, right? And I'm very fortunate because my oldest is 40 and my youngest is 9, right?
Yeah.
So in between there, they've keep, like, my spare time has always been with my kids, right? And they're not big sports addicts or anything else, but we used to always do something together, and it's it's amazing to me. I used to try to read, and when it was before. It was easier, but as the kids get older, and it's getting harder to spend time with them, especially my little girl now, because she's 9, and we spend a lot of time, like me and her. We watch SpongeBob, and we used to, before the COVID thing, we go to Walmart at 7:00 in the morning, and then we go to Sobeys, and then we go to Chicken Burger and get a coffee, and so just routines, that we do hang out and stuff like that on my days off. But I go to work in the mornings at, leave around 6:30 or so. And, I try to get home early in the afternoon so we can go for a walk now and stuff like that. So
Good.
it's all balance of your time, right? It's
Yeah.
balance your time and your family.
Yeah. It's just the things you bring up are just so relatable on so many levels. Like, yeah, my apologies about the dogs. We have a tenant on the middle floor, and
Yeah,
she
dogs.
comes home at this. I'm sure you know. It's just interesting. All the stories that you bring up are very relatable to any level of business, not just at the CEO level of what you do, but at any other level of just not being afraid and just balance. I get that for sure. Like, for example, you say balance. There's times where I don't want to play the game like you say than I say and try to, you know, you know what I mean. But whenever I take like a week off of this company, not a week off, but just relax for a minute, like enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's in my head, it's frustrating. I get a little worried. It's kind of hard for me to relax if we go on like a week away for vacation. It's tough to really sit there and enjoy it. But when I come back to work, it's I don't work. I work so much harder. When you talk about the balance, and that's another thing I'm starting to learn as these couple of years have gone by, is resting is fine, but getting back to work is a lot more, I guess, fun for me because you're resting, I guess. I don't have kids or a wife, but
Well, the thing is that when you're off, you need some time to recharge your batteries. There's no question. But when you're off, there's other things you can be doing to learn about other things, right? Reading and stuff like this here. So you got some time now. You can read about your business, read about what you're going to do, how other people are doing it, and that's the fun part, right? To see how other people have done it, everything, and learn from them, learn from their mistakes, and just keep pushing, right? And it's even though you're off, it's still with you 24/7.
no,
Right?
it's a problem. Like, it's like even affects my sleep sometimes. You wake up at 3 and you can't fall back asleep. You're just up. Because you're thinking of it.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Used to try to keep a piece of paper by my desk, so when I woke up, because I'd always wake up with ideas, right, and try to write them down, forget them the next morning. But my wife always says to me, she says, "How do you fall asleep so fast?" I say, "I got a clear conscience, so it's no big deal, right?" And so I just tease her, but the thing is, I don't worry about stuff, right? And I'm not afraid, and I don't get stressed, and I don't, I just do things. I fix things, and I make things happen, right?
That's fair. How much time are we at right now, Jeff?
52 minutes.
52. Okay. Are you good for time? Do you have to? Do you
Yeah,
have
no.
10 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
You sure you're good?
Yeah.
Chicken burger.
Okay. So this guy grew up in Bedford, so he wants me to ask about the chicken burger startup. How did that come about?
Well, it's funny because the chicken burger, how that happened was that Tom Innes and Don Farmer came in to see me about a donation for the Cobequid Center. They're building that hospital. So they come in there, asked me, tell me about it, what they're doing, how we needed a hospital up there, and blah, 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 right? And so he says, we're looking for $20,000 from you. If you could donate $20,000. I said, well, that's a lot of money. He goes, yeah. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, Tom, I'll give you $100,000, but I want first right of refusal to buy the chicken burger. He goes, well, we're not selling. I said, no, you're not selling right now, but if you ever do, no obligation, but if you ever sell the chicken burger, I want first right of refusal, and I'll give you $100,000. He said, well, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, that's how it started. And, years later, when it did come up for sale, I went up and seen him, and we chatted about it. And I remember when he, first time we kind of do a deal, we had a deal, and then he calls me up and said, well, my mom won't sell. And I says, no problem. I said, if she doesn't want to sell, that's fine. When she does, she changes her mind, give me a call then. So it was a few years later, then I went back and seen him, and I had heard that he was thinking about selling again. So I said, Tom, I said, I heard you're thinking. I said, well, I'm looking at it, but I said, well, let's do it. Anyway, so we went through the same thing, and we had the business appraised, and I said, here, I'll pay you that for it. He said, wow. And he said, okay. He says, anyway, he called me back the next day, same thing. He said, my mom won't sell. And I said, geez, look, Tom, can I talk to your mom? Would it be okay? He goes, well, yeah, okay. So he set up meeting up, and I went and seen Mrs. Innes, and a really beautiful young lady, beautiful old lady. But she was, we sat and we talked for over an hour, and we talked about everything but the chicken burger. Right? We talked about my family, her family, life, and all kinds of different things. And then at the end of the conversation, she says, okay, I'll sell to you.
See, that's what I mean about those meetings. It's personal, and then the next thing, I'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So anyways, then when we signed the deal, when the deal was signed, I remember this here. I like this story here because she gets up and she goes, okay. She's okay, Mick. She looks at the window. She says, I guess I'll move but it's probably going to kill me, you know. I said, well, what are you moving for? She said, well, you own this now. I said, this is always your house. As long as you want it, this is your house. You can stay here for nothing. You know, stay here. Just pay your, for your expenses, but you can live here for nothing, right? She said, you let me do that? And I said, absolutely. I said, I want you to, you still own the chicken burger as far as I'm concerned. And the one thing I asked you to do, she said, what's that? Because she was always talking about the chicken soup. I said, you got to make sure that chicken soup is not too salty. She said, yeah, and something was great because my kids grew up with her and they loved her, and I remember when I set up the ice cream place, she says, I told Tom to do that, right? And the kids would go over and they treat her really well, and she was always treated like the owner, right? And I actually got her to write a little book on life and times of the chicken burger. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, she was a great lady, and it was sad to see her when she passed, right? So it was.
Well, it's a great success story over there at the Chicken Burger. When you talk about good times with family and memories made, you talk about the Chicken Burger.
Oh, yeah.
Something about it that just captures you.
Yeah. No, Tom and the family, they took care of the mom, and it was a great family, and it was a great story. It's a legacy, right? So.
Okay, well, you're a great story, and you got a great legacy going. I'm sure it's not done. I'm sure you have more things you're trying to accomplish, and I appreciate, like I said, this hour of your time coming over here and talking. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs and athletes and chefs. Well, I guess chef's an entrepreneur. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up entrepreneur, small business owner. But there's a lot of people that are going to take a lot from this episode and take it and apply it, hopefully. So once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. The only thing I'd say is, it's fear that holds people back. You just got to get past that. Right? And you can do anything. And making mistakes it's not a bad thing. People are afraid to make mistakes. I don't want to do that. I remember the guy next door to me when I set my body shop up, and he said, "Oh, geez, I can't stand having a mortgage on my house. I can't owe this money. I don't want to owe any money." I said, "Why? That's no big deal. As long as you pay it back, it's easy." Anyway, so like I said, fear can destroy you, right?
I'll give you a quick story. The reason why I reached out to your people to get you on was because someone said I couldn't get you on. I go, no, you can't get Mickey on. There's no way he'd come on. He's going to come to your crummy basement. Thought there's no way. And out of that, it pissed me off. And I said, I'm going to get this guy on. So that's kind of how this all came about. So I took your advice without even knowing your own advice. So thanks again.
I spoke for the guys at I got the Entrepreneur of the Year, right? And this guy from government, what is it called? She's come to me in a second here, but the business of
the year?
No, it was government.
You did it. It was at the convention center the other day.
No, this was that was something else. But this was years ago when I was a kid. It was board of governors or something like that for the. Anyways, it was a big thing in Canada. These guys are all over Canada, right?
Okay.
Anyways, the guy calls me up and wants me to talk. So, anyways, we go down here, and the guy's getting ready for me to introduce me, right? The guy says, "Geez, you must, you must get asked to speak all the time." I said, "No." I said, "Nobody ever asked me to speak. They know me. They wouldn't ask me." He goes, "You must be nervous." I said, "Why would I be nervous? You asked me. You should be nervous." I said, "I don't care." He said, "Nobody would ever ask me to speak." The guy's shitting in his pants, right? Anyway, it was kind of funny.
Let's end it on that. That was great, Mickey. Thank you very much once again. I do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in. It's Monday, start of the week. Take Mickey's advice. Work hard, have fun, be fearless. Do whatever you want to do. If you want to be a mechanic, you're already a mechanic. Don't need permission from anyone else. Do whatever the hell you want to do, all right? Like I said, work hard, have fun, enjoy the rest of the week. We are out. Peace. Good? Yeah. Very good.